And now I'm looking at my agenda here, and I'm a bit of a problem because I expected another man to be here to give a speech. I'm sure the President knows him very well. He was expected to come, but we got not an apology because he never gives an apology. Now, Charlie McGreevy. But clearly something happened in the car because we told very God when the middle inquiries was that on receiving the invitation from Slane from a credit union and hearing that the credit union has built a new building, he overheated and blew his top and he tried to bust it. We also sent an invitation to do that, Charlie, and unfortunately Mary Harry bought So now, dear friends, we come to the point where I have to say that the President honoured us by opening our new office today, and it was a pleasure to have him. He is no stranger to Slane. We had him here a few years ago. We enjoy his company, and I hope he enjoys ours. And so I'll ask for the final speech of the night for the President to honour us with it.
Mr. Chairman, Reverend Father, Reverend Eiley, and fellow members of the credit union movement, I don't know why the Chairman said it was an honour for Slane to have me here to open the premises. I think really it was an honour for me to have the privilege of opening that premises. I would like to repeat what I said up at the office a few years ago when I was at the annual general meeting and people were talking about all the problems with the building and the width of the right of way and various other minor things like that. And we talked, and Larry suggested that perhaps the day would come when I would be president and I would open the premises. And I'd like to just apologise to the architect and the builder and everybody else. All the little obstacles that appeared to come in the way were simply Larry delaying the process so that I would be here to open the premises. But I do really consider it a privilege. I'm delighted to be here, and so is Chris. And one of the major advantages of being president of the League, of course, is that you don't have to buy flowers for your wife anymore. All sorts of strange men buy your flowers, and you never know whether to get suspicious or jealous or what. Being president of the League, you know, has its upside and its downside. I suppose the downside would be chairing meetings, whether of the League board or League committees or special or annual general meetings, and trying to keep law and order, talking to high-ranking this and high-ranking that, and government ministers, or as Larry said, some government ministers. But I always think that the upside, the real part of this job, is the opportunity to go around the country and meet the people who really matter in this movement. That is the directors and the volunteers of credit unions around the country who make this movement what it is. It's wonderful to come and see a credit union remembering two people who have served this credit union right from day one and are still here. And to remember the people who served in those early days with them. These are wonderful people. These are heroes. And those are not the wrong words to use about them. It took a huge amount of courage 32 years ago to set up a credit union in Slane. Nowadays, the younger generation in particular take the credit union so much for granted. It has always been there. And they don't seem to realise that it wasn't always there. That some people, people of vision and people of courage, had to put it there. That people had to say, we will take responsibility for looking after the savings of our friends, our neighbours, and the hardest people of all to convince, our relatives. And that the people also had the courage to say, we will trust these people who are not economic experts, who are not whiz kids, but decent, ordinary people, and we will trust them to look after our money. And when you hear Tom talking about the major decision it was to lend £100, I think we sometimes forget that in those days £100 was a lot of money, and it took courage even to go from Ben Dunn's 99.99 to £100, because that extra nought made an awful lot of difference. But it is people like Tom and Eddie who I'm delighted to see here tonight. I think it's wonderful that he was able to come. And if Tommy Weir and myself here are going as strong at 85 as Tom is, we'd be more than thankful. Though I must say my mother's 93 and she's still laying down the law to me and telling me what I should be doing. And also the people who are still running that credit union. And I think the chairman made a very good point in remembering the people who served in the intervening period, because sometimes we honour the founders and we honour the first directors, and rightly so. And we see the current directors and the current volunteers moving about, doing this, doing that, doing everything. We tend to forget that there had to be people who did the work, who volunteered in the time in between. And we can't talk about the credit union movement without talking about the volunteers. This movement, from the smallest credit union at local level, right up to the top at league board level, is run by volunteers. The teller who recently took up duty in some new credit union somewhere in the country last month is a volunteer in exactly the same way as I am as president and Tommy Weir as directors. And the success of this movement is due almost entirely to that huge voluntary input of people willing to give of their time, willing to give that time for one reason and one reason only, and that is to serve their own local community. And of course it's that local community which is the second strong plank in the success of this movement. I don't need to tell anybody how strong the sense of community is in Ireland. To hear Tommy and Larry talking, the strength of belief in your local community sometimes became very, very serious indeed. And when Newtown Blues were playing Mornington or wherever Tommy was playing for, the pride in the local community can still be remembered 20 or 30 years down the line. And Tommy Weir says he still has the bruises to prove it. I think Larry would say that he had bruises to prove it as well. But it's that idea of community. And that is what the financial institutions are missing in. Austin came up to me before the meal and he whispered to me, he said, do you know there used to be 2 banks in Slane and now there's none? And why are there no banks in Slane? Because Slane is too small for them to make a profit. And a bank exists for one reason and one reason only, and that is to make a profit. They may talk about servicing their customers and providing services, but that service is only a means to an end. And when the day comes that the end doesn't justify the means, then they pull out. And they're not in Slane because there wasn't a big profit. And I wouldn't be surprised when all the building that's taken place around Slane is completed, if some bank didn't decide that perhaps it was worthwhile coming back after all. But the credit union was here, is here, and will be here, in good times and in bad, and especially in the bad, serving the people of the community and giving them the financial services that they need. This credit union can't decide that there's no profit to be made in Slane, for 2 reasons. We don't operate to make a profit, we operate to service the people. And secondly, it has no place else to go. If Slane Credit Union closes its office in Slane, then that is the end of Slane Credit Union, because it is Slane Credit Union. It is of this community, it belongs to this community, and that is why it deserves the full support of everybody. And it serves the community not just by taking their savings and giving them loans, but you'll find that every worthwhile project that has ever taken place in Slane has been helped in some way, whether financially or otherwise, by the credit union. Because the credit union is a community-based organisation. And it's that community base and that voluntary input that has made this movement the greatest cooperative movement anywhere in the world, not just in Ireland. We exist to serve the people and serve the people only. Your new office is a sign to people that the credit union is here to stay. And listening to Tom, and I'm not trying to belittle the achievement here in Slane, but it was so typical of what has happened in practically every town and village in Ireland, where a group of dedicated, wonderful people decided to set up a credit union. And because they had no money to spare, they ended up getting a loan of a room in the local school, or a room from the local parish hall, or somebody somewhere took pity on them and let them in. And then perhaps they rented premises, and then they built a wonderful premises that was going to do them forever, and then they grew and they had to build another premises that's going to last them forever. Maybe in 20 years' time somebody will say, it's a pity we didn't make it bigger when we were at it. At the moment in the credit union movement, in addition to fighting with Charlie McCreevy, we're trying to set up a centralised computer system whereby the members of a credit union could access their accounts anywhere in the world. Slane has committed to that because they believe that the better the service you offer to your members, the better you are as a credit union. And there's no doubt that this credit union believes in serving its members. Incidentally, it's a coincidence, and nice to be here for the coincidence, that Tom and Eddie became directors of a credit union at exactly the same time as I did 32 years ago. So we're all in this together. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether I'm president of the league. Larry was saying he remembers the time, I was joking on here that they were giving me a rough time. You see, I said I remember the time the president of the league used to be treated with great respect. Larry said he remembers the time you hardly dared to speak to the president of the league. And I can remember that, going to meetings down the floor to be afraid of the president. But at the end of the day, what is the president? The president is simply a credit union member who, by a series of flukes and coincidences, has been elected and has been given the greatest honour that anybody in this country could achieve, to be the elected head of the greatest organisation in this country. Could I
put the bottle.
Tommy Weir threatened to throw the bottle, so could I congratulate you on 32 wonderful years of service to this community. I have no doubt, from what I know of the people who are on your board, the volunteers and staff that you have at this time, that service will continue and this credit union will go from strength to strength. And I wish you all the best in it. And thank you again. It's not an honour for you to have me here. It's an honour for me to be here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President, and on my own behalf, on behalf of the Board of Directors, the Slane Credit Union, and I say on everyone here, we wish you every success in your term of office as President of the Irish League of Credit Unions, and happiness and good health to you, and your dear wife as well. Thank you very much. So now we're coming to a closing tonight, and I don't think there's any other speakers that I know, but I think we just I think Benny has something to say there.
Sorry. Just on behalf of the Board of Slane Credit Unions, and I would like to thank our chairman, Mr. Larry Hussey, for his patience and his insight into this new building. and his performance the other day. I think he doesn't a big hand.
Giovanni, now Barbara's has talked something else, so like that. Give her the mic and see what she has to say.
I'm just getting a bit brave as I get used to the mic. Larry spoke earlier about Mrs. McMahon looking after Jim and getting them ready to trip around. Well, we have a Mrs. Huzzy in Slane who looks after our chairman, and I know she put up a lot of phone calls from me anyway the last year, so we haven't forgotten her today either, and I'd like to present Sheila with a bouquet of flowers on behalf of her.
Thank you, Barbara. I don't know why she is quite used to getting the flowers. There's nothing else for me only to I must thank the proprietor of this Trinity Arms Hotel, Graham Canning and his wife Bernadette, and I must also compliment his very pleasant and efficient staff for the way they handle us here. So there's nothing to stop anyone from having a very enjoyable night from there on, because we have covered everything here. We've covered your spiritual needs. We have Father Carly here and the Reverend Armstrong. We've covered your medical needs. We have a doctor here. And if you only want to get home physical, we have our sergeant here too. So nobody has any excuse, so now let's enjoy the rest of the night. And thank you all very much.